You're now tuned into the Real Rap Radio Show. I'm your host, Walil Archer, on Down to Hot Radio. I have my special guest, Paula Aldis. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Good. Super excited to have you today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
I'm looking at your book cover in the background. Your book cover look amazing. Definitely look
Thank-
amazing.
That's my daughter. My daughter did that.
Nice. Nice. So we're going to touch on that in a minute, but let's start with the title of your book.
Okay, The Woman Who Wouldn't Quit. It's my memoir of all the medical challenges I have been dealing with since I was a kid. I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at the age of 12. Um, wasn't taken care of the way it is now. We didn't check blood sugars, you didn't wear insulin pumps, you didn't do any of that. I dealt with a lot of I'm called a brittle diabetic, so I deal with a lot of the complications of diabetes. I've always been a go-getter. I go out there and I do adventurous. I played softball growing up. Just I never stopped. I always went and went and went. I lost my leg after a bad fracture, and I had a surgery, and just because of the diabetes, would not heal. But the woman that wouldn't quit, it's been one medical issue after another with me. I've had my life almost taken out several times. And it's about me surviving. I'm a survivor. I've got a purpose, and I'm finding that purpose, and I just had to get it down on pen and paper. I just had to get it down and let people know that, I'm an advocate. Don't ever give up. There's always good in everything bad. There's always good on the other side. And it's about you taking your journey and getting through your journey.
Nice. I like the title. Now, did you go through a title selection or you just went with that one title and said, this is it?
I worked with my publicist on it, and we just did a few little ideas. Mine was I originally wanted to do it where it was with every hardship, there's a triumph. So it's that's I wrote that a lot. That's the theme in the book as well, is all the triumphs I've made through all the hardships that I've gone through. And
Okay.
that's what I was doing. But she came up with that, the woman who wouldn't quit, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. I'll do that.
And did you base it off of chapters?
The title,
No, the book itself. Is it based off of chapters?
yes, it is. Yes. Mhm.
Okay. And how many chapters would you say your book have?
Hey, yeah, gosh, I'm not sure. I think it's 12.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's 12.
Okay.
They're very short chapters, but yeah, it's just every part of my life, the good and the bad about I talk about my marriage, I talk about being diagnosed with diabetes, I talk about my early childhood, talk about the adoption of both of our children, and then get into the hardships that have happened, you know, throughout my life during these certain times.
Now, out of all the chapters, would you say one was harder to write than the other?
Yes. Yes. The hardest chapter was it's talking about my kids. It always brings me to tears because I love them to death. They're both adopted, but we adopted them at birth, and they're my children, and my son has some severe mental health issues. He's got schizophrenia, and just writing about him, and it's going to make me cry now, him and everything that he has gone through and survived, and he's doing wonderful now. He's going to be 28 years old this month, and he's starting to thrive. He finally hit rock bottom, and just seeing him go through that and writing about it, it brought me to tears, because we have an extremely close relationship, And it's always been me and him, me and him. And then we adopted my daughter. So it's my purpose in life is getting these kids grown up and getting them in their lives and thriving in their lives. And so far, I'm doing a pretty good job. Went through some bumps, but doing very well with that now. So that's the hardest thing for me to write about, to talk about, because I love those kids more than anything in this world.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about that book cover. It looks so great. You said your
Mhm.
daughter did the book cover.
Yes, she did. Yeah.
Okay, she's in graphics.
She does some just some side jobs with photography. She makes cakes, cupcakes. She's just so talented, and right now she's in nursing school. Yeah, she's multi-talented. Yeah, and that's a new leg. I had just gotten that leg, and it wasn't covered up yet. So I'm like, hey, I got an idea for my book, and she goes, okay, and I'm like, I want my leg to be seen. I said, because that's an attention grabber. Someone will see someone with a prosthetic leg, smiling. So I'm like, let's do that. And we went down to the beach, which the water is my happy place. I'm a beach girl, always have been. And it was just a perfect day scenario. The wind was blowing right and everything. And she had me do different poses and stuff. And that's the one we went with.
Okay. Now, would you say you experienced writer's block when writing this book, or was it easy flow and easy fit to write?
It was very easy for me. I was actually in the hospital waiting either to have surgery or to find out if I was going to have knee surgery. And I was bored and I pulled my phone out and I'm like, I'm tired of just going through this. And it's not that I'm going through it on my own. It's just people don't know the true down spiral you go in when, was one hardship after another. And I just had to get it out. I talk about it, but I just didn't get deep into it and what it was doing to me mentally and physically and, everything that was getting taken away from me. So I started writing it. I was in the hospital for a whole week, went through surgery, and I was done. By the time I left, I was done. So it took me not even a week to write it all down, but it flowed because I've been having to tell little parts of it throughout my life to different doctors, to different friends, to different, people that I meet. It's like, oh, well, why do you have a prosthetic leg? I have to tell them the whole story. And I'm like, let me write a book, and it was so cathartic for me too. It's just like, I'm getting this out. I can let it go.
Now, what would you
So
like for the readers to take away from reading a book?
I want them to see that hardships suck, different medical issues, they suck, but there is always a triumph in your struggles, and you have to dig down deep, which I had to do, and I found my happiness. I found interest. I found, a deeper love for my husband, for my kids, and everything, and just life. You're alive, and you're alive for a reason. Find that purpose. Find something that will bring your happiness back. I did it. You can do it. So
Sounds good. Now,
yeah,
did you learn or discover anything new after writing the book?
yeah. My happiness. It's like I looked at what I do have and not what I've lost. Um, I'm easier because since I wrote the book, I've dealt with having to have my shoulder replaced. I have to have my other shoulder replaced. So I'm still dealing with the hardships, but I'm kind of getting that attitude like, oh, well, okay, let's get through this one. This is just another thing. Find happiness in everything. And I'm a very happy person now. People see it now. They see me smile all the time. There was a long time where I wasn't had the RBF. I'm like, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. And I found that. And my marriage is excellent right now. And we went through a lot of issues in our marriage, and we're happy now. I'm able to speak with him to where I couldn't do that before. And I actually see a big change in him with the changes that I have made.
Awesome. Awesome. And where can they find your book at?
It's on sale at Amazon, and it is also with Ingram Sparks.
Nice. And as we begin to close out, any final thoughts or closing remarks?
Now, just don't give up, people. Just please don't give up. There's always something happening. I would like to tell you a story. I go to the gym with my husband at least 4 times a week, and there's a young girl there that's my daughter's age, 21, and my daughter went to high school with her. And my daughter was telling me a few years back that this girl that she knows had a aneurysm and a massive stroke. And the first day I walked into the gym again, there she is. And, she's got a horrible limp. She has a hard time speaking and stuff like that. But I saw her in the gym, and I just had to go up, give her a hug, introduce myself to her. And she's like, "Oh, I know your daughter, Kari." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." But yeah, I see her, and that's what I want for everybody. And she told me too, it's like, I survived. I survived that horrible accident or what happened to me, that horrible hardship, but I survived, and life still goes on. And that's the message I want everybody to pick. Life does go on.
Great message.
Thank you.
Welcome. Well, Paula, I'd like to thank you for doing the interview today.
All right. It's fun. These are fun.
So that's my time today on the Real Rap Radio Show. And I'll see you guys next time on the Real Rap Radio Show with your host, Walil Archer on Downtown Hot Radio. Peace and blessings, everyone.
Thank you.